All right, welcome to this week's Points and Miles report on traveling on everyday spend. We've got a lot of things to cover. We definitely need to talk about the headlines, but we also have some new credit card offers, one being best ever, as well as some points and miles opportunities for purchasing of points and some different promotions. And there's actually even an airline improvement that I've seen that actually is making me look at possibly that Delta may not be my favorite going forward. So I really want to get right into this. First, want to thank each and every person that watches the live stream and the videos. Really appreciate the support and look forward to a great report here. Let's go and get started. So as far as the credit card offers that we have going on, we still have the Alaska Airline credit cards from Bank of America for both the business as well as the personal card, 70,000 bonus miles, as well as getting that companion pass with just that initial spend of $3,000 on the personal, $4,000 on the business. So, and once again, if you are a renter and deal with Bilt, you can also be able to flip-flop of using Bilt if you have a Bilt credit card or Bilt rewards to be using for rent. And you can also use the personal Alaska credit card if you wanted to. You would have to pay the processing fee, but you would get 3x on your rent. So very versatile cards, and Alaska is only becoming a better currency with the Hawaiian Airlines merger. With Chase, we still have the Freedom Unlimited and the Freedom Flex, getting $200 for just $500 worth of spend in the first 3 months. We still have the United credit cards. They keep saying that we're at offer ending soon. I've not seen where we have a date yet, but I think it's kind of ran its course. So if you are interested, I would look at trying to make that move very quickly because I think it'll go away pretty soon. And then we have two new, well, we actually have a few, but let's start with the Marriott Bonvoy Boundless. This is the $95 annual fee credit card. Now, this has a new promo with a $150 statement credit plus 100,000 points for just $3,000 worth of spend in the first 3 months of account opening. Now, as far as the historic or the best ever, we have the Marriott Bonvoy Bold. This is their no annual fee credit card, 60,000 points, plus you actually get a 1 free night at the 50,000 point mark. You'll get that certificate. That is just for $2,000 worth of spend in the first 3 months. In addition, Chase has added the pay yourself back to that card, and you can you pay yourself back up to $750 on airfare and Marriott purchases at 0.8 cents per point. That is a really good deal as far as making something that's very usable with that card. Not saying you should do it as far as 0.8 is decent, but I like the fact that they really have loaded up a card with no annual fee for people that may just want to get their feet wet with Marriott. Then we have the IHG credit cards. We have 2 of them. We have the IHG One Rewards Premier, which is the $99 annual fee card, 170,000 points for $4,000 worth of spend in the first 3 months. Now that's a slight uptick on that one. But then we also have the IHG One Rewards Traveler card. Now this is once again a no annual fee card. You're getting 100,000 points for just $2,000 worth of spend in the first 3 months. The one thing I would point out, if you're not familiar with the IHG credit cards, by having the Premier credit card, you unlock the ability to have that 4th night free be on any type of travel that you do. And that is I like that a lot at a $99 annual fee with a little bit of status too. Just that comes with a $99 card. But even if you're wanting to get your feet wet with the IHG One Rewards Traveler at no annual fee, definitely worth taking a look at for that. So those we have as brand new ones for Chase. And then we still have the World of Hyatt credit cards, both personal and business credit cards. And the personal one, I don't know necessarily if I count it as 65,000 points because it is done in two pieces. The 30,000 points normal, 35,000 points for $3,000 worth of spend, but that 30,000 additional points at 2 points per dollar up to $15,000 in the first 6 months is not my view of an ideal as really a true welcome bonus. I'm still spending to get it. Now that is available through March 6th is the last date I've seen on this through 2025. The business card, which I'm normally not a fan of, it's not one I've gotten, but 60,000 points with $5,000 worth of spend in the first 3 months. And you can also be able to get that category 1 through 4 certificate. So some things to be able to look at through Chase. We're not really seeing much more from American. I've not seen anything through Amex. I'm not seeing really anything through Citi other than the same Strata card, as well as the business American Airlines card. So not seeing a whole bunch in regards to that. But I think that now that Chase has kind of done something here in January, I think we should be able to see some more. Before we move on to the next part, I wanted to thank Tampa Travel for coming in. Really appreciate it. Mr. Cool, thanks for stopping in. Really appreciate it. Ian, thanks so much. And from Vietnam, congratulations. I hope you had a safe trip out there. But definitely a place I was looking at as kind of another bucket list item to be able to do so. I'll be very interested to hear if you put some information in the comments of your trip there and what you're seeing and what staying and what your experience is. I would definitely like to see that. And John R., thanks for stopping in. John, if y'all have never heard me, is a person that is working towards his first 1,000 subscribers like myself. Really doing an excellent job. Talked about some of he's putting out a lot of videos these days, but definitely the return of the Platinum credit card, and did a video in regards to Hilton and gift cards that I thought was very interesting as well. So definitely make sure to check him out. And yep, Ian and Tim McDonald. Yep, solid offers for IHG. They're normally good anyway. And I'm definitely a fan of the Premier card because you're getting so much out of that $99. But definitely, if ever looking at it, definitely take a peek. Yep, IHG is been on radar. Definitely worth pulling the trigger on that. Adam, thanks so much for stopping in. Really appreciate it. Feel Singapore business call from EWR. Ah, okay. From Newark, then on to Vietnam. Oh, I bet that was a good flight. Thanks for sharing that. I just saw it. Flight was amazing. And John, appreciate comments. Oh no, all the time, John. So let's take a look at now. If you all, once again, if you haven't been on before, there's a lot of points and miles opportunities, and you'll find an enormous amount of links in the description that I encourage you to take a look at. And so I don't necessarily want to touch on every single one that's on the list, but I'll highlight a few of them as well as some new ones that have come up over this last week. We still have the Avianca 160% bonus. I raised that only because it does sound like a very large number, and it is. But if you've not bought Avianca points before, it's not necessarily a groundbreaking number, not something that you would see it in other cases. So don't feel like if you see that and you're interested in it, that you have to drop everything to get it. It's a good offer, but definitely not one that you won't ever see again. Accor Live It Limitless, they've been doing a lot of different promotions for their hotels. We talked about Hawaiian Airlines last week on an up to 50% bonus to purchase miles. And I'll note on there, very rare when it comes to buying points do you actually get something more than 1x or 2x. But if you have the Hawaiian Airlines World Elite MasterCard, you can actually get 3x on your purchase of those points or miles. So keep an eye out for that. Hyatt had a lot of different things going on, different opportunities. So I'll have links for that, especially for these registrations for them. We also have IHG, which is a few different things. One thing I'll throw out for IHG, since we've talked about them today, one is that if you're not finding any other kind of promotion that will fit for you, and you are definitely going to an IHG location, you can actually save 20% when you pay with Visa. Now, this is 20% off of the best flexible rate, and is good for the entire year of 2025. It's available at all hotels worldwide with no blackout dates. So if you are not finding something and you're paying cash for it, that may be something to look at. They do have some minor restrictions, but take a look at that. And then you have the 15% award discount. Now, there is a list of eligible properties, and they switch by blocks for a certain period of time. I'll have links for each of those blocks so that you can see if there's something there that you might be interested in. As far as a couple of new items, we've got JetBlue. You can purchase the points with up to 120%. It is targeted, so meaning that you will, if you are a member of JetBlue, you will have the promotion, but there you may see where it's not 120%. I normally have the worst luck with all of these, and I actually do have the 120%. So if I have it, you probably do as well. The purchase period ends February 24th, so there's plenty of time. Anything from 3,000 points and up qualifies for the 120%. Maximum points for the purchase per transaction is 200,000, and that 200,000 is the same as the calendar year maximum. Now, if you're not aware about JetBlue, it's a fixed rate item. It's normally not one that you will normally purchase points for on the normal, but as with any of these ones where you're purchasing points, if you are seeing a deal that you're going to get something from, it's worth considering. Otherwise, you could be looking at purchasing JetBlue with your Chase points, and if you have a Sapphire, you could be at 25% or 50% bonus on those. So be careful if you're dealing with JetBlue. Make sure the numbers are going to work out for you. Copa Airlines is one that I've talked about before. I think it was probably near the end of 2024. You can purchase points with up to 45%. Now, this period will end February 22nd, and this one will start at the 3,000 mile mark. 3,000 to 9,000 miles is 25%. 10,000 to 15,000 is 35%, and 15,000 and up is that 45%, which will bring you at just about 1.65 cents per point, or per mile rather. Now, you can purchase up to 100,000 miles in increments of 1,000. Like I mentioned on here, 2024, we saw it get as low as 1.58 cents per mile, but this is still one of the better deals. If you're not familiar with them, this is basically if you were going to fly on their metal for Copa, Panama is basically the best location for them, with, I think it's 17,000 miles for economy, 30,000 miles for business. They also have a really interesting sweet spot that I read about as far as Emirates. Now, with Emirates, if you were looking at premium economy, you can use your Copa airline points to get to purchase that ticket, and it's at a relatively good rate. Now, if you've been looking at Emirates, you would normally see Alaska Airlines as basically being, or Alaska Miles being, one of the best ones to use, mainly because of its availability, especially now with Built and Hawaiian being involved, has made those points easier, or miles easier to get. But the rates on Alaska is normally not that good. Copa is doing better, but it's only for premium economy. You can't, I think you can use it for business, but you cannot use it for first. So definitely something to kind of look at and pick up on. And if you've got questions about that, I will be more than happy to dig further into that and put something up in the comments or in a post. So that's what we have for Copa Airlines. And then Marriott, we have a lot of different options there. Once again, links will be in the description, as well as Wyndham. And we also have that Hyatt Vacation Club that's still going on. And before I get to the quick notes, let me make sure of what we've got here. Call Me Lonnie is stopped in, really appreciated. Another great content creator. He just did a video on, I think it's the 10 things you have to do with the American Express Platinum that really gives a lot of great information. So definitely make sure to check him out. Always a good view for him. And Mr. Cool, I think with Copa you can do up to 1 week stopover. I think you're actually right. I think I read that. I'll definitely look to make sure that that is the case, but I believe you're exactly right on that. Thanks for raising that topic. And then we have Sledge from SkyTeam. Once again, another excellent credit card content creator. Does a lot of things in regards to tips and hacks on a lot of different cards, and has a very good grasp on the federal Navy Federal cards as well as a lot of things. A very good angle on his thought compared to a lot of us that do that. So thanks for stopping in. Really appreciate it. So let's hit some of these quick notes. I do these quick notes now because some things kind of come up. I think they're good information, but don't necessarily require so much text and information. So I hope this ends up being helpful for people. So let's first we have Discover bonus cashback offers. Now this is targeted, and you would normally see this in your email for cardholders. If you do have that, the spending has to be completed by March 31st, but the bonuses that we're seeing on those is earn $100 cashback bonus with $1,000 in new purchases. There's also the earn an extra 6% cashback bonus on up to $1,000 in new purchases made with the digital wallet. And then we also have earn an extra 4% cashback bonus on up to $2,000 in new purchases. The only unfortunate part with this is that there's not another way to necessarily see that you have it other than going through the email process of looking to make sure that you're not missing it. So if you've got a Discover card, make sure you take a look. Then we have Chase doing a 10 million point giveaway, which I'm all for. So they're going to select 10 lucky winners that will win 1 million Chase Ultimate Reward points each. Now, and I'll get to the point of where it says for you to use through the Chase travel. I'll come back to that. Now, you can enter once per day. Now, that's it's not a rolling day. It's basically 12 a.m. to 11:59 p.m. at night. One prize per household, no matter how many times you apply or how many people in your household. Only one person gets a chance to win the million. Then we also have the random drawing is going to happen on or about February 5th. Now, to be eligible, you have because they're going to ask for the last 4 digits of your credit card number, and what that will be is either of the Chase Sapphire cards, obviously the Sapphire Reserve or the Sapphire Preferred, the Freedom Flex, the Freedom Unlimited, Freedom Student, and the Freedom Rise, as well as the Ink Business Cash, Unlimited, Premier, and Preferred. So if you have any of those cards, I'll have a link for you to be able to do the entry, and you can once again do that once a day for what you would want to do on that. Now, as far as it's referencing that, if you look at it, it talks about spending through the Chase Travel Portal. But if you kind of look at more of the language, and I'll have a page for both the rules as well as the link for signing up, it does really actually look like you are not going to be relegated to having to use the travel portal. I don't want to promise that, but it doesn't look like that with the way that it reads compared to what the headline is. But a million points is a million points. I'm more than happy to spend somebody's million points through the portal if they want me to. Then we have the Lufthansa Lounge over at London Heathrow. Now, this had been closed for a few months And this is Terminal 2, which is the Queen's Terminal. Now, it is the busiest Lufthansa lounge outside of Germany, where they say they get 540,000 visitors annually. Now, what they did for that closing for that period of time is they expanded the lounge up to 1,600 square meters, and they increased the seating up to 364. The rest is really kind of decor and design changes, not any additional features necessarily other than the layout. But with that kind of usage, probably anything will help for that location. So, but that is now just reopened. And then I wanted to touch on Chase. Chase has their Q1 2025 spending offers as well. They are targeted, and let's go and get started with that. So the promotions that they have is either 7x total points on up to $1,000 worth of spend at grocery stores, gas stations, and restaurants, or 5x total points, 5x total miles, and then 5% specifically related to Disney reward dollars. Now, as far as the cards that this comes with, the only one that is doing 7x, if you are targeted, is the IHG One Rewards Premier, which we talked about, that has the elevated offer. Then the 5x points is for the IHG Traveler, Select, and Classic, as well as the World of Hyatt, the Marriott credit cards, and the Ritz-Carlton. The 5x miles applies to United, Southwest, and Aeroplan. And then you've got the 5% related to Disney. Now, this unfortunately is a maddening kind of situation. So you will see, unfortunately, more links than you can imagine. There are cards, that IHG One Rewards card has 2 or 3 direct links. And that applies to almost every one of these cards where you have that many links, as well as a generic link. You could be targeted and click on the direct link and not show that you have it, but click on the generic link and have it. Vice versa, you could have it on the direct links, but not on the generic. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to put all of those links in there. And if you really want to go after it, you'll have every link you need to at least try to see if you might be able to get any of those. Now, this will run all the way through March 31st, as well as what we talked about with the Discover card. Then we have the JetBlue Even More Extra Legroom in Economy. If you've flown JetBlue, Even More Space, it may be a term that you're used to seeing. Now, that is being rebranded into quote unquote Even More on January 28th. Now, it will remain the same essentially, but they are adding a couple of things to it. They are adding in free alcohol, a premium snack, as well as complimentary headphones. They're not necessarily taking any of the amenities away. This seat can normally be purchased with an additional cost, or if you have mosaic status, then you could get it as a complimentary seating subject to availability. Now, the one thing that is going away from what is considered the Even More space to this Even More rebrand is that exit row seats were part of, in many cases, part of the Even More. That will not be the case under Even More versus the Even More space. So the exit row seats are going to be rebranded to the extra leg room seats. So if you are used to the Even More space, that's the changes that you'll see. More things added, but removal of the exit seats. So we have that. I always like to talk about at least a hotel or two that may be new, where we can utilize the points and miles that we earn. So for today, we're going to talk about the St. Regis Aruba. Now, I mentioned St. Regis last week with another one of their locations in the Caribbean, and that was the St. Regis Cap Cana in Dominican, which is going to open sometime this year. But the St. Regis Aruba is going to be the first one and is now open. This is a 252 room with 52 suites. Dining is Japanese Korean rooftop by Akira Back. Akira Back has, I think, 25 different locations of different restaurants around the world. In Las Vegas, it's Yellowtail over at the Bellagio. They also have a few, forgetting a couple of the locations, but probably you may have seen the person on Akira Black on Iron Chef and on different shows on the Food Network. Very renowned chef. You also will have a Caribbean restaurant in Nuba, which is a poolside restaurant. The amenities, 2 bars, the St. Regis Spa, of course, a state-of-the-art gym, and a children's club. Now, as far as costs, you're going to see the range of cash go from $844 to peak time at over $1,000 a night. For points, you could be as low as 79,000 points, but you're normally going to be more around 85,000 to 115,000. Now, this is actually going to be the first St. Regis with a casino. Now, if you've been to Aruba, you'll know that a lot of hotels have casinos there. So I don't think St. Regis, even as great of a brand as it is, would have been as competitive if they didn't have a casino. So they do have one there. And I saw this drink tradition. I'm not a Bloody Mary person, but I thought this was very interesting. And I guess it's a big thing with St. Regis. And if you've been to St. Regis and to partake in that lodging, let me know if you've had this. So it's a Bon Bini Mary, which is a version of the St. Mary, Bloody Mary. It is made with fresh papaya, lime, habanero, as well as aromatic spices. Sounds more refreshing than what I would normally think of a Bloody Mary. So, but once again, if you've experienced it, definitely be sure to share. I'd be interested in hearing about it. So now let's talk about something that came out today, which is the partnership between Choice Hotels and Westgate doing a partnership. So they announced the partnership today, but as immediately, the partnership adds 21 locations to Choice's portfolio. And even as of right now, the locations are already bookable on Choice's platform, as well as you can earn and redeem points with those resorts. Now, Westgate has really almost 1,000 different locations. So it's just 21 of these, but they are in popular locations. They have 7 of them in Orlando. There's one in River Ranch, Lake Wales, Florida. You've got Cocoa Beach, Florida, 2 in Las Vegas, Park City, Utah, New York City, Branson, Missouri, Gatlinburg, Tennessee, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, as well as Williamsburg, Virginia, as ones on the list. Now, you probably have heard of Westgate because they're more known as the timeshare developer. They're one of the leading timeshare developers in the world. Now, obviously, the luster has been lost on a lot of timeshare-related activity for a number of years. I think I've mentioned, I actually had gotten a timeshare eons ago in Las Vegas, and it literally was a waste of my money. But I got swept away with it and got it. Now I no longer have it. So it's interesting. So it's not surprising that Westgate would need to be looking at some other opportunities to get people into these resorts that have a very large timeshare kind of feel. This is an excellent move, though. This is obviously going to help both parties, but I think this really helps Choice as well. Choice is now basically adding 21 locations that are a little bit higher than their normal level, but probably comparable to the Cambria brand that they have, which I like the Cambria brand that they have. So I think that this is a good move for them. So many partnerships are being done with so many other hotel chains and hotel brands. I think this is a nice one that fits for Choice, and I'm sure does not really do much damage from their bottom line of being able to do this. So definitely would suggest taking a look at that if you are interested in any of those locations. Now, need to talk about United in-flight entertainment. Now, as you all know, I am a fanboy of Delta. I fly Delta almost exclusively in the United States, if at all possible. But I was very surprised by hearing about some of the in-flight entertainment upgrades that are going on with United that I was not aware of. And that is one of the features I like about Delta is I don't want to have to carry my tablet to be able to stick on some ledge to be able to watch a movie if I'm flying. So I like being able to watch that screen. So we talked about Delta, I think, last week as far as their announcement that they had done from CES. And so what's interesting about this information, this comes from an interview that the Points guy did with Dominic Green, who's United Airlines Director of In-Flight Entertainment, and they talked at CES. I mentioned as far as an enormous number of amount of items that were discussed and a lot of benefits that are in progress or already here. So let me touch on some of these. So in-flight screens. United recently reached its 600th airplane with in-flight seat back screens. They expect to reach 1,000 in the next couple of years. When it comes to Bluetooth, over 300 airplanes already have that connectivity. And Dominic wanted to point out that Delta only has Bluetooth in first class seats on the A321neo, as opposed to what United is already doing as far as every seat having Bluetooth, which I thought was very impressive. 4K screens. So the all-new in-flight screens are going to be 4K on United. Now, Delta announced the 4K screens, but they have no timetable, and of course, Dominic wanted to point that out. They also are going to are testing a control tower view. So with this view on the screen, you can view the aircraft around you. You can actually click on the aircraft, the different aircrafts that might be around you on the tarmac to be able to see the operating airline as well as its call sign. So for a lot of AV geeks, this could be really interesting as well. And I guess I'm starting to consider myself that to a certain extent. In addition, Channel 9, I've not heard about this, but if you fly United, you probably are aware of it, and that probably also goes towards Lonnie, who's really good with United. So you'll find this under the audio tab when you're on the United airline flight. And this channel provides the chatter between air traffic control and the pilots of your plane. Now, some people, it's been in existence all the way back to when you could only hear music as entertainment on the plane. Now, some passengers have talked about that they thought that there was something wrong with this because of Channel 9 because they really weren't hearing anything. And so what Dominic pointed out was that access to the feed is completely determined by the pilot. So you could be on one flight and hear the chatter between air traffic control and the pilot, but then you might be on another plane where that pilot's not too in favor of broadcasting that information, and you won't have access to that. That process isn't going to change as far as the pilot determining if it's done or not. Starlink Internet, United announced last year that they were going to have this service and bring it throughout the entire fleet. Now, the first plane with Starlink will fly this spring, and Dominic said that they are looking to add Starlink to the seat back screen as far as internet, which only just increases what I really am liking about their in-flight entertainment plan. Then screencasting. So I think it can go by different phrases or different words, but when we're talking about screencasting, basically we're just talking about throwing an image onto another screen, from your phone to your TV, from your phone to your computer. This would be talking about doing it from your laptop or your phone to the actual seat back screen, which, if you think about it quickly, sounds like a good deal. But this technology already exists. right now. But Dominic said that the issue is that their corporate partners are not in favor of enabling the technology, mainly because of the concern that others being able to see that screen. And that actually makes a lot of sense. Um, there's so many different apparatus that if you're at a Starbucks or something where you can put a certain film or certain screen on it so that if people are off to an angle, they can't see the screen. Well, United's not going to get involved in that kind of process. So there will be no plans to do screencasting at all. So I think that was, but I'm really impressed with the in-flight entertainment component of things. Now, there's still more that I want to be able to see, but it definitely gives me something to think about for that. And so I'm curious if you are a flyer of United, if these were things you were already aware of, is that something that enhances you to continue flying with them? Or is it something where you might be like me, where you may be willing to open the door and look at other things? I see Tim talks about I'd screencast Excel spreadsheets. Exactly. And I think that for some corporate partners and such, they don't want numbers to be so easily seen, but I would definitely do that depending upon the size of that screen as well. So, but that's what we have for United. Let's talk about Qantas. Now, this kind of came up all of a sudden. And so we're going to definitely touch on some negative things, but I think a few positive things. And it was just interesting because I had just flown Qantas coming back from Australia after New Year's. So let's talk about what's going on with Qantas. So Qantas announced that as of August 2025, that the Classic Award seats, which is really their saver level seats, are all going to be increasing. So the increases, they say, are going to be from 5% to 20%. And we are advised that there will be some benefits that come from this devaluation. So let me give you what we have on this so far. So if you're doing economy seats, you're kind of seeing right now anywhere between 5 and 10% projected. Now, because once again, this isn't going into effect until August. So 5 to 10% increase, with the lowest price was 8,000 points, is now 9,200 points. Fees for most of these really don't change at all, but we are seeing the least increases, of course, when you're flying within Australia. When it comes to business, though, we are starting to see that inch up between 10 to 20% of an increase. In those fees, we are seeing increase a bit more than what we saw in economy. As far as classic upgrades, so that's the devaluation aspect that we have with Qantas. Now, we are seeing that upgrades for economy or discount economy is also going up 20% plus higher. And if it's flexible economy, we're seeing it closer to 10 to 15%. Now, I make a note on here that we're only seeing a small amount of changes, and with so many months remaining until August, we need to be prepared for the worst and hope for the best. And so I'll have a link for a fact sheet that Qantas put out, and that's where we're getting this information, where they gave a very small sampling of what some point changes would be. And so you can take that as we're getting some information and they're being trying to lead, or you could be saying that we're only seeing a little bit of this because there's worse to come. We don't really know that answer yet for Qantas, but let's talk about what else will be changing. So the first one would be Jetstar. Now, Jetstar is Qantas's low-cost subsidiary, and it basically flies, I'll call it local, within Australia to Auckland, as well as New Zealand, I believe, but it doesn't necessarily go, it doesn't have a lot of range. So what they're going to do with this is that Qantas is saying that as of August, they will basically lower the economy award price for short haul. Short haul for them, they're considering at this 50, going from 6,400 points down to 5,700 points. This would basically short haul you all within the Australia continent, in Auckland and New Zealand. So One of the things that I wish I would have had more time to do is to be able to take some flights to other locations within Australia, but a lot of them are going to take you 3-4 hours, and you're going to have to kind of give up a day. So that is what you're looking at with Jetstar. So for 5,700 miles, like I mentioned, you can fly pretty much anywhere within Australia and Auckland. And Qantas points can be used to upgrade to business class within Jetstar. The next item is partner rewards, which I found a bit interesting and we'll talk about. So beginning in October of 2025, there will be more options for an increased number of partner rewards. So when we're talking about premium economy seats, we're going to see where there'll be more available that you can get with Qantas points with Air France, Finnair, Iberia, and KLM. With Hawaiian Airlines, we're going to get access to the classic reward seats. But while that may sound good, those classic reward seats pricing is going to rise up nearly 20%, which is not necessarily ideal. And then for Emirates, you're going to have economy rewards will decrease, but the business and up will increase. And so they're also looking at giving us more increased points. And that will come from domestic flights, where Qantas is advising that they will increase points earning of up to 25%, but we don't have the specifics of how that's going to work yet. And then we see for their status bonus cap, they currently have a status bonus cap for their premium class seats. They're going to eliminate that class so that there'll be more opportunities to earn points in the business and the first class. So we just we're going to have to see about what's going on with it. A couple of notes that to keep in mind with all of this. Qantas hasn't had a devaluation of, I think, in the last 5 years. And before that, it was like 6-7 years before that. So this is not something that we've seen consistently with Qantas, which is a positive. The other positive is that we're getting a lot of lead time all the way till August of 2025. I'm very thankful for that because I still have 125,000 Qantas points because I was hoping to be able to bid to get bumped from premium economy to business, which was unsuccessful on the flight back. So I've been wondering about what I'm going to try to do with those 125,000 points. But now that I have an idea of what I'm dealing with, I'm going to definitely be looking at being able to do something with those points, transfer them or something before I lose value for those. So those are the positives that we're seeing. Now, the negatives are these partner rewards sounds good on the surface as far as the premium economy and the new access. But unfortunately, there's a reason why we don't really use Qantas points for these, because we have much better options of currency. So we're not going to get a really great deal out of these partner rewards, most likely. Jetstar, if you're within Australia or nearby, I think that's nothing but a good thing. But if you're here in North America, probably not a whole lot you're going to be able to do with this. And as well as the Qantas points are really not the greatest currency to be doing transfers with. So if you've got a Qantas points, consider what you might want to do with those if you want to hold on to them or such. I would say that one of the things when I ended up flying Qantas, the sweet deal, which still exists, and if you're looking to go to Australia, would recommend it. First class flight on the A380, 132,500 points, I believe, for one way. That flight for me going down Christmas time was in cash was a $14,000 seat, and was able to get it with just 132,000 points. So if you got Qantas points, consider what might be good or work for you on that. But I wanted to bring that to your attention. And let's see what else we've got here. Obviously, we saw a sledge. We've got, let's see, sorry. We got Ron. Thanks for stopping in, Ron. Really appreciate you coming through. And let's see, Tim and Joe Barreto. Hola, mi gente. How are you doing today, sir? Joe, just uh, just really an impressive credit card content creator. Um, really enjoy his spin on things. I unfortunately am a bit behind on his videos. I've got to get back into them this week, but does a really excellent job. And I think one of the things that Luke said last week that I listened to on his is that every content creator has their own spin on things, and which is what just really impresses me about all of these guys, and especially Joe. Really great angle on things, has really brought up some different pieces of information that I definitely didn't know. Everything from purchasing the insurance on American Express Platinum to some other different angles that he's had. So definitely an excellent content creator that I encourage you to watch. Oh, I didn't even see it. Joe, thank you so much for the $4.99. I really appreciate it. There's it's really appreciative. It's humbling, and I really appreciate it. Thanks so much, sir. Really do. Let's see if we've got anything else. Yeah, there we go. So let's move on to SkyTeam Lounge Access. Now, SkyTeam, as most of you all probably already know, as far as the American airlines, it's Delta. Delta is SkyTeam, but it's obviously one of the larger teams in the world. So SkyTeam announced that there are going to be changes to their lounge access as of April 1st of 2025. Now, the changes are going to impact first and business class flyers as well as the SkyTeam Elite members. So I thought I'd walk you through what currently we are seeing with SkyTeam Lounge Access versus what the change is. So currently on SkyTeam, a SkyTeam Elite member can bring a guest to the lounge as long as the guest is on a SkyTeam operated flight. So they don't have to be with the SkyTeam member, just be on a different flight if they want to be with SkyTeam. That's going to change now, where the guest that is allowed to enter to the lounge has to be flying on the same flight as the member. So that is one change we're seeing. The second change is there's currently not a universal restriction on 3-hour maximum stay in a lounge, but some individual lounges do. I have to admit, I did not know that was the case with SkyTeam lounges. I'm normally over at the Delta Sky Club when it comes to SkyTeam, and they do have that restriction. But I did not know that for the most part, the other SkyTeam lounges didn't have it. Curious if you all already knew it, and I'm just behind on the whole process. Now, what SkyTeam Elite members, as well as the first and business class passengers, are all going to be restricted to that 3-hour limit. Now, if you're transferring between two SkyTeam flights, you will still be able to stay as long as needed, but supposedly that 3-hour one is going to apply across the board. And then currently, SkyTeam Elite members do not get lounge access to domestic itineraries. Now, we've talked about this before over the times when we've talked about different promotions with different foreign airlines where you are able to get status. And because you're getting it from the foreign airline necessarily, you have been able to see some loopholes that allowed us to fly domestically and be able to access the lounge. The change now is going to be that SkyTeam Elite members will begin having lounge access for domestic itineraries. It's going to begin on a limited basis with lounges of the following airlines: Air France, China Eastern, Garuda Indonesia, Kenya Airways, KLM, SAS, Saudia, and Vietnam Airlines. Aerolíneas Aerolíneas Plus program, that's a lot to say, as well as the Delta SkyMile members will not regularly get this benefit, though. I'm not sure of why that's happening with the Aerolíneas Argentinas, but I think we have an idea of why it's being applied to Delta. So as far as a few thoughts, as far as the guest policy, I'm sure this is going to be a negative for some people where they're friend or their partner or significant other just happen to be maybe crossing paths, two people that are in the air a lot and cross paths. This obviously does hurt that situation. But obviously, this is going to be a situation that we're going to have to deal with. The 3-hour restriction, like I said, was something I wasn't really even aware of when it came to the SkyTeam lounges, because I've been only at the Delta one. So once again, anytime you take away a benefit from somebody, you're always going to be sour with it. I wish I could have the ability to stay at a lounge as kind of long as I want. The one lounge that I've ever had that it was being in the first class Qantas lounge in LA, because you were able to get access whenever you wanted to and stay there. And so my wife and I were there for, I think, maybe 5 hours before the flight, and I enjoyed it. But this 3-hour restriction is not surprising, and it's definitely not surprising when we're talking about the domestic lounge access. Definitely a positive. As I mentioned, for those of us in the United States and North America, we've had to kind of look for loopholes to be able to access the domestic lounge for this. But Delta, with it being such a large entity, that's not surprising that they're not going to immediately give that domestic access to Delta flyers. Hopefully that will change somewhat soon, but that's kind of where we're at right now. I see John said, always thought it was a 3-hour limit, so it doesn't affect me. I agree. I did not know that you could, but once again, ignorance is bliss sometimes. So I definitely am right there with you, John. So that kind of covers everything. I want to make sure if anybody's got some different thoughts or comments about anything that we've talked about or that we should touch on, definitely throw something in the comments, and we can definitely talk about it. I'm more than happy to for things. But I think that a lot of different information today that came out, and we'll definitely try to keep things updated on that. On those. So definitely looking forward to that. But I want to thank, I won't keep everybody. I want to thank everybody. And once again, trying to work towards that 1,000 subscribers. So if you found any of the information beneficial and are not subscribed, please consider subscribing. Really want to earn your subscription. I really appreciate your support and time, and thanks so much, and look forward to talking with you all again next week. Take care.